Hey, Jason, it's Jess Harnell, the voice of Ironhide from Transformers. And I got your nice request here, buddy, so thank you very much for asking for these things. First of all, you're archiving the Bayverse history. That is very cool. I know Michael would be very pleased to hear that. How I got the role of Ironhide. It was a weird one, man, because it was not at a professional recording studio. It was at just some random building. As I recall, I think it was in North Hollywood. This was a long time ago, but I think it was North Hollywood. They did not tell me what the project was. I think they called it something like, and don't quote me because this isn't correct, but something like Robots in Space or something. And they handed me the sides, and I read for the role of Ironhide. And that wasn't the name that was on the page. And I don't know whose idea it was to do a British accent, because basically the voice that I was using for him was my promo announcer voice, rated R, coming soon to a theater near you. It was like that kind of thing, but I made it British for some reason. I don't know why there's so many British things in space. Like, why was C-3PO on Tatooine? Tatooine's... My wife's British, but it never made sense to me, but it just seemed to fit, and I think people take that accent more seriously, so I threw that in there. And I didn't know for sure. I went in and I recorded, but I didn't know for sure that I got it because they recorded multiple people till like a week before the movie came out. But what was cool was really fun working on it. When I got in there with Michael, I ended up doing the voice of the president, as I recall, and they threw Barricade at me. I didn't even audition for Barricade. They said, hey, well, more on that in the next one. They said, would you like to take a crack at this? And I believe that we came up with that one on the spot. Again, these memories may not be completely correct because it was so long ago. So those are the choices I made in creating and shaping his voice and personality. And his personality, just, I think Michael's words were, he's just a badass. He, do you feel lucky, punk, and all that stuff, And as far as when the decision was made to kill off the character, man, I always look at these things objectively. I was really blessed to do it when I did it. I was sorry to see him go, but, it was just like, oh, well, if it suits the story and it's important to the story, then I understand. But the nice thing at the end of the day is that the character in those movies mean a lot to people, hopefully people like yourself. And I got to be part of that. So that was pretty awesome. Anyway, I hope this answered the questions that you had. I'm going to do your one for Barricade next. So stay tuned for part 2. All right. Take care, brother. Hey, Jason, it's Jess again with part 2 of our cameo extravaganza. As far as Barricade, I think I just filled you in on the last one of these that I sent you. I think it came up at the session, and Michael said, let's try this. And with him, I think the direction was sort of like, and again, forgive my faulty memory, but I think it was like he's a no-holds-barred, like really angry drill instructor kind of voice. Like, you in the corner, stand up straight, like one of those guys. And so I just did it, and I remember the line, are you ladies' man? I think it was 617, forgive me again. And I started hollering that out, and they were like, yeah, that's it. And I went, okay, cool. We went with that. And then, of course, I was pleased when I saw the movie and that the Barricade scene was so great with Shia LaBeouf. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm glad I did that. Because we never know, when we're doing these things. We work in a vacuum. We don't get to see them until they're finished. But I remember thinking that one was pretty cool. Well, obviously, those movies are just a feast for the eyes. But I like that scene a lot. The choices I made in shaping his voice personality, I think I just filled you in on that. It was just, he is not a nice guy. He's not the most romantic fellow in the world. When the character returned, I think, I had to go and look at a clip because it had been such a long time since I'd seen or thought of it. And I think it wasn't really like a discussed thing. It's just that the dialogue that he had wasn't as shouted. So basically, it was like the drill instructor at home instead of screaming at his platoon. You know what I mean? I don't remember any of the lines, but I know it was much more conversational and much more like this. Yeah, we've got to do that sort of thing. So it was basically the original thing just pulled back in intensity. Does that make sense? Anyway, so I think it was the same voice. It was a different attitude, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, I hope this answers your questions. If I can be of any more help, please let me know. And good luck with your project. I think it sounds great. I think a lot of people will probably really dig it. And all the best to you, man. Happy holidays and a great new year and Merry Christmas and ho, ho, ho and everything good. All right, take care, my friend. See you, Jason.